Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo, by Marc Silvestri, written, penciled and inked by Silvestri and coloured by Arif Prianto. This is book one of what will be 7 parts to this story. The basic gist or high concept of the story is the Batman teams up with Joker. So the cover here by Silvestri and Prianto features some of the main players, the Joker here in the background, Batman up front, and Harley Quinn, and then this mysterious shrouded figure in the backdrop. So let's open this one up. This is published under DC's Black Label imprint. I'll just flip to the back cover. So this is Silvestri's Joker here in black and white, and the price tag for this particular book is $4.99, and it is marked as being suitable for ages 17 plus. Okay, so let's open this up. So the credits here on the left: story and art Marc Silvestri, colors Arif Prianto, letters Troy Peteri, and special thanks to Matt Hawkins and special thanks to Silvestri's wife Bridget. And here we have an opening scene with Harley Quinn stuck down a hole of some kind, and her captor asking her, "Do you really think he'll come for you?" And her response is that he's going to come and kick the captor's ass. So then our scene switches to the Bowery, Gotham, and the scene of a crime. And here we've got Detective Harvey Bullock, who is investigating the crime scene, and of course, who turns up but the Batman. And so first of all, we're seeing in silhouette Batman, then from three-quarter profile view from behind, and then a close-up on the eyes. So Silvestri is building to the introduction of his version of Batman. But what I want to say in relation to this page is I want to comment on the art here and Silvestri's style. So Silvestri is penciling and inking himself old school on paper. This is not produced on computer. So Silvestri has apparently been working on this project for around 7 years. It was first announced at San Diego Comic-Con 2018. So it's 4 years after that we're getting the series being released in publication. So he spent a lot of time working on this. And as I said, he's also the writer. So he's writing the story, but also scripting himself, which is a bit different from the first Silvestri story that I read, which was his Cyberforce for Image, where he had his brother do the scripting. And so I had some trepidation about the quality of the writing for this book, but let me tell you, it is very, very good. I was surprised in a very good way at how well written this book is and how good the dialogue sounds. It's not overwritten. The characters have distinctive voices. It's really, really well done. So if he spent 7 years on this, it shows not just in the art, but also in the quality of the writing. And in respect of the art, the style he's using in terms of the inking is this very scratchy hatching style, but it's very, very pleasing. And something else I'm going to comment on is the way that he has rendered Gotham City in the comic. Gotham is practically another character in the story, and the level of detail he puts into architecture, into lighting, the buildings, spotting blacks in respect of the buildings, it is stunning. He really has put his heart and soul into this work, and it's just amazing. And another thing to point out too is, something I was worried about was, would this be an image style book? And by image, I mean like 90s style image, where the story is merely a vehicle for showing the primary characters in cool poses. Was this going to be a book in which Silvestri would essentially just be drawing Batman in cool poses? No. There's a story being told here. There's a mystery. There's a dead cop, an ex-SWAT team member. And the Batman that Silvestri writes into this story is very much the Dark Knight detective. This is a mystery, a whodunit that Batman sets about very carefully, logically, rationally investigating. So interesting to see that choice by Silvestri in terms of the Batman he wanted to draw. And so let's just move on to this page here. So Batman, again, this is the detective Batman investigating these bullets in the wall and identifying the fact that the ex-SWAT team cop actually hit his target, and the bullets reveal white skin, green hair, bone, looks like a skull fragment. Whoever was shot survived a headshot. So this is a forensic Batman operating here. And of course, all the signs seem to be indicating the Joker. But how is that going to turn out? By the way, story point here is why is Bullock the investigating officer, since it seems to be a crime connected with the Joker? It's because Gordon has gone fishing, fly fishing in this story. So here we have our title page here. By the way, this just makes me, prompts me to say, in terms of the style here, I feel that Silvestri is drawing on not just forebear comics creators, but also recent film adaptations of The Dark Knight of Batman. Christopher Nolan's Batman is in the background here, I feel. Also Nolan and Ledger's version of the Joker. I'll talk more about that in due course. And I feel, in terms of like the overall feel and look of the book, and this title page here reminds me of David Fincher, and more particularly Fincher's Seven from 1995. So there's more than just comics feeding into Silvestri's vision of Gotham and Batman in this comic, and it is the richer for that. So here's your here is your money shot of Batman leaping off the top of the building and knocking the wig off this bad cop here, Blix. And this is another detail of Silvestri's characterization. Batman, in his interior monologue, says, "Dick often points out that I lack a sense of humor," but this is something that we get throughout the book. Batman's dry, dark sense of humor popping out now and then, and it really is a welcome touch and a little surprising as well. So, but very pleasing. And part of the opening discourse is Batman drawing a distinction between good cops on the one hand, like Bullock, and bad cops on the other, like Blix here. And I also want to draw attention just to some of the graffiti here on the dumpster. Clark Kent is Superman obscured, MS plus BS, that's Marc Silvestri and his wife. But over here, and popping, the colors make it pop too, Frank was here. And that is one major influence behind Silvestri's Batman. It's Frank Miller, but it's the Frank Miller of Dark Knight Returns and Year One. And in particular, I see that in the grim and gritty scenery and backgrounds and grotesques of Gotham City, but also in the tautness of the dialogue and in the voice that Silvestri creates for Batman. This voice of the interior monologue, and by the way, I like Pateri's lettering in the book, and I like the fact that he indicates who's talking with a little icon. So we get a bat icon, so we're clear that it's Batman's interior monologue. That's going to make sense more in a moment when we see someone else with their interior monologue. But yeah, it's Miller's original Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One style interior monologue that we get for Batman. Very competent, very much in respect of Dark Knight Returns, someone who knows what he's doing. That's this Batman. And the title of chapter 1, The Enemy of My Enemy. Well, we can all finish that one off, is my friend. And then we get Catwoman. So Catwoman doesn't appear on the cover, but she's obviously going to play a role at some stage in the story. We only get her here in these panels. This first panel here, I have to point out, look, just a beautiful rendering of Gotham. It reminds me also, like another film influence here would be, to my eye, Fritz Lang and Fritz Lang's Metropolis. It looks like here in terms of Silvestri's rendering of Gotham, grim, gritty, but also kind of futuristic. So a very clean rendering for Selina Kyle, Catwoman here, and then in the bottom anchor panel we get our Batmobile, which to my eye it looks like an Italian sports car, some kind of reconfiguration of a Lamborghini / Porsche. Very nice looking, and also here's that point. In order to distinguish Selina's interior monologue, or the conclusion of her speech there, we have a little cat there. That's very nice by Pateri, the letterer. And one would have to imagine that Silvestri, as a writer, an artist, an inker, is indicating where he wants the lettering to go. And the lettering never obscures the art. It is really well placed. There is a very nice flow throughout the book. Silvestri, of course, always a master storyteller. But just look at the level of detail here in this panel. There is no scrimping on backgrounds from Silvestri. It is really full detail, but never obscuring the flow of the story. And then we have Batman tracking, but also stumbling across the killer. And the killer is Joker-like, but not the Joker, as Batman himself concludes. This isn't Joker, but whoever he is, he handled a 4-story wall like he was stepping off a curb. So Batman flies into action using his grappling hook there, jumps out of the car. This is really, really cool. And throughout we get the interior monologue being very procedural about the technology he's using and the equipment he's using. We get explanations of it. That again remind me of something of the Batman from Dark Knight Returns in Year One. So here's the antagonist looking very, very vicious and deadly, and Batman hits him with his elbow. They tussle, and ultimately Batman gets the better of the guy, but the guy breaks one of his bones. I feel a bone break, not his. That's classic Miller style dialogue from that mid-80s era. So let's continue here. So Batman, oh yeah, and this is a great little scene here, and we can see again Silvestri is telling the story here. It's not just about having a cool anchor image of Batman on this page to sell it on. All of the art here is in service to the story, and these vampire drones which take out the antagonist, the perp. And then a SWAT team arrives, and there's a standoff between the SWAT team and Batman because Batman believes the area has not been secured. And ultimately, in the disagreement between Batman and the SWAT team leader, the perp gets away with the head, because that's what this guy seems to be collecting heads from his victims. Now, I just have one additional comment here, which is that I want to point out how there is a kind of a dark edge to the story. So Batman acts when the gas mains go off. He acts to save as many of the bystanders here as possible, but he is not able. There isn't enough time to save them all. So there's a body count here, and then there is a consequence of that where there is a discussion in the media about who's to blame. Everyone from the mayor down to Batman. And then we have this scene set in the Batcave, so we get Silvestri's vision of the Batcave. And also at this point now, I can point out a structural pattern in the book, which is this, how would I call it, like a middle page half splash. So he uses this design a number of times throughout the book, and it works really, really well. You get this widescreen effect, and we get to see, as I said, his vision of the Batcave with a bat helicopter there, various bat wings, another few Batmobiles, the giant penny, of course, the dinosaur, the classics of the Batcave. Oh, and a little bat boat there as well. Very cool. And then we have, again, this is part of the Silvestri's characterization of Bruce Wayne. And this is our first look at his vision of Bruce Wayne, who I see some Robert Pattinson here behind this physiognomy. What do you think? And this Batman is obsessed by the mystery, by the challenge of detecting what's going on. And he's set up a charity to take care of the damage and the victims of the gas mains blast. But that is not his primary focus. He is much more focused on the hunting down the perpetrator and getting to the bottom of the mystery. So he puts his detective skills, his reasoning into, he uses it in order to get his first clue, which is that there is the DNA of both a dead transient and the Joker inside the body of an unstoppable man. So how has this come about? And then we finally get the arrival of the real McCoy Joker in respect of this macabre gift. And again, this to me is like a little reminder of Fincher's Seven. So in the box there is an appendix that has been removed, and that is formerly the property of Jim Gordon. So it seems that the Joker has Jim Gordon hostage and is taking bits of organs out of him one by one, starting with something that he doesn't need, the appendix, but threatening to move on to something else. And then a little Hannibal Lecter line as well. I brought a nice Chianti, and just a great introductory drawing there of the Joker from behind, with all the detail on his coat and the white media cut through to indicate the falling rain. Again, another Fincher dimension of this, 7 dimension, constantly raining here now in Gotham. And Batman doesn't enjoy the joke. He pulls Joker off the ledge and hangs him over the side of the building, roaring at him, "Where's Gordon?" questioning him that way. But it's interesting that Joker responds, "Come on, Bats, we've been doing this for forever. You're not going to drop me, so lay off the improv and let's stick to the script, especially since it won't be long before Gordon starts losing parts he probably wants to keep. Now pull me up and let's talk turkey. I'm in a jam, buddy, and I need your help." So something that the Joker, that belongs to the Joker, has been taken from him and he wants it back. Is that Harley Quinn? Is it something else? Is it his DNA? Hard to know at this point. And so he proposes that they team up in order to get to the bottom of what's going on. So he wants a spit and shake on it. And then Batman, and this is a Black Label title, spits in Joker's eye, but does agree. Oh, and does the handshake, but breaks his fingers. And so we have a team up now between the Joker and Batman, and they're going to have a lot of work to do in order to overcome these guys here. So this is Silvestri's Batman and Joker Deadly Duo, and it is a really, really competent, more than competent, exciting, well done first issue or chapter or book or whatever you want to call it. You know, you'd expect impressive art, it's there. You'd expect impressive storytelling, it's there. For his Joker, I see a cross between Jared Leto for the physiognomy, but minus all the tattoos, and I see something of the Ledger Joker's attitude coming through in his version. But it's very different from Jim Lee's more cartoonish Joker. There's something more menacing about this guy, but also humorous too, but not in a wacky comical way. This is more like the Jared Leto face to my mind. Also, something else I want to point out is in terms of Silvestri's choice for Batman's costume. I like it. You don't have the shorts or the underpants as part of the costume. He's gone all grey with a black utility belt, the black all the way across the chest bat emblem, and his gloves and boots are armoured as well. So just interesting choices by Silvestri. I like them. Oh yeah, and one other point regarding his Batman. Here we go. So this is much more like Neil Adams. Actually, this particular image here is reminiscent of Neil Adams style Batman. But what you don't get is that Jim Lee ear. That I don't like that in Lee's version. So I like what Silvestri is doing with Batman. It's really well done. And at the back of the book then, we have some black and white, uncolored pages. So we've got the cover there, and we've got that double page half splash of Batman jumping off the building. Just tremendous. You can see the level of detail in the inking there. The Batcave, and then Joker's arrival. Very, very, very nice work, and prompts me to look forward to an oversized artist's edition of the original art. We're gonna have to see that eventually at some time. So there you go. Chapter 1, Book 1 of Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. I hope you enjoyed this review and commentary. If you did, please like the video. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this.